Today we talk about planning, one of the important functions of management. First function of management is also planning. Planning is the key to all the functions and foremost important functions of management. Now, coming to what is the meaning of planning. First, we understand planning. Plan means something, thinking before going for any action. Planning is thinking before doing. Thinking before doing. Now, whatever we are planning means we are somewhat thinking before what we want to do, what we are going to do, what we have to do. So, thinking before doing is planning. To be more specific, planning is the process of thinking about the activities required to achieve a desired goal. Now, these are the activities to be taken up to achieve a particular goal, thinking about the process. So, it means what we have to do for the achievement of our objectives. Just think before what you have to do. Planning is deciding in advance what is to be done. The good famous scientist defined planning as deciding in advance what is to be done. So, by all the definitions and meaning, we came to know that planning is the activity which is being done before doing any activity or action. Now, easiest meaning and definition is thinking before doing. Planning is thinking before doing. Coming to features of planning. Now, what are the important features which give us the meaning of planning is? First one, goal setting. Before planning, you have to set a goal to be achieved. Goal to be achieved. Objective. What objective you want to achieve? So, first one has to fix the goal or set the goal, organizational goal or personal goals. Second one is foreseeing. You have to have a vision of future. You have to see the future through your knowledge and your experience and so on. So, what should be done to get your objectives successfully? Third feature is expansion to all departments. Planning is not only in particular department, everywhere, every minute, every section, every department, every part of the organization, planning is implemented. Selection of alternatives. Now, if we are implementing a plan, suppose the plan is failed. Suppose the plan is not implemented completely or successfully, you have to be ready with your alternatives. Alternatives is also one of the part of the plan. Alternative ways of achieving your goals. Alternatives to your successful plan should be ready with your along with the plan. Continuous process. Planning is a continuous process. Planning, implementation, review, again planning, implementation, review, again planning, implementation, review. Like that. Planning, thereafter implementation, thereafter feedback, correcting the mistakes, after taking feedback, and again plan fresh, and again implementation, again review, feedback, like that. Continuous process. Planning is a continuous process. Planning should be convenient. Planning should be convenient to implement, to practice, and so on. So, planning is, it should be convenient to all sections introduced in the organization. Planning increase the capacity of activities. Planning increase the capacity of activities. So, planning is, some features are like that. Now, types of plans: short-term plans and long-term plans. It based on the time. Time is different for each organization. What is long term, what is short term? Objectives planning. Planning objectives also is a part of planning. Strategies planning. Strategies means long term planning. Standards planning. What standard should you impose? What standards should be introduced in the organization? Budgets planning. The income and expenditure estimates, budgets should be planned. Income and expenditure budget should be planned. Policy should be planned. So these are the some of the types of planning. Now coming to next, importance or significance of planning. Why planning should be there in the organization? It's almost all advantages of organization. Reduce uncertainty. Planning reduces uncertainty in the organization. Planning reduces uncertainty. Planning gives you guarantee, at least to some extent, certainty. So, planning almost reduces, makes ready to everything. So, planning reduces uncertainty. Planning gives importance to objectives. Planning give importance to objectives. So, preset objectives we can easily achievable. Coordination between all departments. Planning coordinates all the departments to achieve the organizational goals. Planning coordinates all departments and ultimately achieves the goal. Avoids the wastage. Planning avoids wastage. Planning also reduces the wastage. By this, we can use the resources of the organization very efficiently. Planning gives importance to control the overall performance of overall organization. Concentration on managers, training, and so on. Taking precautions. Planning takes precautions wherever there is a scope for damage, loss, like that. Planning will implement alternative issues and their loss shall be reduced. Facing challenges, competitions. If you are planned successfully, you should be ready to face challenges. Now again, next, advantages of planning. As I said, features and advantages are almost similar. So once again, I repeat the advantages of planning. Removes uncertainty, objective oriented, coordination, reduce wastage, control over all the departments and activities, attracts concentration of managers, taking proper care, facing competition, managerial skill development, overall economic development of the organization. So these are the advantages of planning. Now coming to disadvantages of planning are also somewhat we can discuss. The planning program is based on large amount of data. So if data is incorrect, planning also becomes wasted. If data is correct, then only planning is successful. So while going for planning, the data must be reliable. Now extra cost. Always planning department is additional burden to the organization. So extra cost should be bearable. Delayed decisions. Some decisions are to be delayed, keeping in mind of the expert advice. Inefficiency. If any inefficient person in the organizational top position, in the name of the planning, it should be encouraging inefficiency. It should sometimes maybe happen inefficiency encouraging. External factors also influence the planning. Now, most of the people they resist change. They don't want to go for planning. So, as per the scientific principles, they don't want to change. Now, coming to steps in planning. Steps in planning. Now, first step is identification and understanding the problem. Identify the issue and understand the causes and what should be done. What is the main issue? Understanding and identification and understanding is the first step in planning. Understanding and identification is the first step in the planning. So, whenever you are starting with, you have to start with what is the problem. You should identify the problem and understand what are the main causes for the problem. Second thing is collection of data. You have to collect the data regarding the issue, regarding the problem. Then analysis. Analyze the data. Analyze the data. Collection of data regarding to the problem and analyze the data related to the issue. Then come to a conclusion. Fixing objectives. Then you fix what to be done. What is your objective by doing all these activities? You have to select your objectives. You have to decide the main objective of doing the particular task. Assumptions of planning. You have to form assumptions on which your principle, your activity is based on. So, what are the exceptions, assumptions in this issue? We have to understand what are the main key roles, what are the main assumptions, and if you prepare well, explain the interested persons what are the main assumptions for your planning. Studying the various alternatives. Now, if not this method, what is the alternative method? What is the alternative thing? You have to be ready with your alternative plans also. You have to make it ready, alternative arrangements also. What are the alternative arrangements? You have to know, keep them ready before since you are implementing a plan. Studying the subclasses. What are the other aspects? What are the sub aspects which are influencing the particular issue? You have to understand it. You have to understand from various angles, and then you have to think over the all the issues, and next go for the next step. Introducing the planning. At this stage, you have to introduce it, implement the plan, and after implementing it, at the end, assess, measure the outcome of the plan, whether you achieved 100% as per your planning or not. Assessment, measurement of the result. Is there any deviation? Is there any overestimation? Is there any underestimation? Then come with um, feedback. Again, again revise your plan. Again go for implementation. Again take feedback. Again go for continuous process. The main steps in the planning. These are the 8 main steps in the planning. So once again I repeat the planning lesson. First, meaning and definition. Meaning and definition. What is the meaning of planning? Planning is an activity, is the mental activity. It is thinking. It is thinking before doing. Thinking before doing. First important and foremost function of management. Planning is the process of thinking about the activities required to achieve the desired goals. In this, we have 3 key words. First, planning is the process of thinking about what? About the required activities. Required activities for what? To achieve the goals. So, 3 key points explain the main function, importance of planning. Planning is a deciding in advance what is to be done. Another scientist, Coons O'Donnell, defines planning as a deciding in advance. In advance. That all these definitions and meaning give an impression that thinking before doing is called planning. So planning is an action, thinking before doing. Features of planning, coming to first one, goal setting, foreseeing, expansion to all the departments, selection from alternatives, continuous process. It should be convenient. It is increasing the capacity of activities. Next, coming to types of planning: long-term planning and short-term planning, objective planning, strategies planning, standards planning, budgets planning, policies planning, whatever you want, you can plan in that way. Importance or significance of planning: reduces wastage and reduces uncertainty, increase the importance of objectives, coordination between all the departments, control, concentration of managers' training, taking precautions, and facing competitions. These are the main significance of the planning. Next, coming to advantages, almost all similar to significance of the planning. Again, coming to removes the uncertainty. Objectives oriented is the second advantage. Coordination between all the departments reduces the wastage. Control achieved. Attracts concentration of managers' training. taking proper care in advance, facing competition, manage skill improvement, economic development of organization. These are the more advantages of planning. Disadvantages of planning are based on data. Whatever the data is provided, the decisions are taken based on. If the wrong data is provided, wrong decisions will come out. Extra cost to the organization. Planning, implementation of planning costs some extra cost to the organization. Delayed decisions. Decisions will be delayed by implementing the planning. Inefficiency also may take place. Influence of external factors also may be there. Resistance to change also may be there from employees. Steps in planning is implementation part. Identification and understanding the problem is the first step. Identification of problem. Then understand the problem. Collection of data and analyze it. Data collection and analyze whatever the data is available regarding a problem. Analyze the different various angles. Fixing objectives. Assumptions of planning. Prepositions or assumptions. Studying various alternatives. Studying subclasses. Introducing planning, and at the end assessing the capacity or measurement of the planning activity. Then take feedback and again start the planning function. Planning function is like a cycle. So with this I conclude. Thank you one and all.